Welcome back to Digging Deeper. Today we have a very special episode. We're going to do an undercover candidate / secret shopper of an actual dealer. We're going to walk through and audit their hiring process, and we bet that many of you have the same pitfalls that this large dealership has. We're going to keep it all anonymous, but we're all here to learn. This is not to call anybody out. We just want to learn. Let's get started. And we're back. Today, we have Aaron Mowery with us. He is our VP of Strategic Accounts. He has done many of these secret shopper / undercover candidate, and he's going to be walking us through today. All right, so as I said in the intro, this is going to be a little bit different Digging Deeper episode. Normally, we just kind of have a conversation, but we're going to do an undercover / secret shopper focusing on dealers and technicians. We have Dealer A pulled up, and we're going to go through their hiring process and see where all the pitfalls are. And I imagine that many people here on the podcast / webinar today will have some of these same flaws in their hiring process. So it's going to be a little bit different because I don't know why I'm telling you. I should be telling the audience. We're going to be looking at Aaron's screen as he's going through this, and I'm going to be asking questions, but it's going to be mostly Aaron with the floor here, kind of showing all the pitfalls in what we're about to go through. Well, one thing we did say, because we've done this for the fleet side too, is that the point of this is not to call people out and say like, "Ooh, look at you." That was kind of ew. The point is, edit that. The point is, where can you improve? And there's a lot of times things seem natural on your end, as far as like you're the person putting up the form fields and putting up the pages and designing the emails, and it makes sense to you. But until you actually put yourself in the seat of the candidate, you don't realize how much friction it can actually be. So we're all here to get better. So we already have a dealer pulled up that we want to go through. So why don't you go ahead and launch us off?
Sure. So a couple of things we're going to look at initially was just a Google search. We went from the Google search page. If we scroll down, we found Indeed listings.
Right.
So I'm just going to kind of walk through that real quick.
Okay. So they click on the Indeed listing, they get here. And I know when we were kind of prepping, your ire was already up at this point. Why?
Yeah. So when I initially clicked it, it took me to the Company A. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
Company A.
Company A.
Their listing. And then I dug into a specific one. When we do our secret shoppers, we get pretty technical. So we build a fake resume to go along with it.
Yeah.
And the resume will match the location that we're applying to. So we obviously wanted to find a location that matched the resume. And we even go in and do a Google search of other companies in the area. So when we put our work history in, it's legit. That makes sense.
Yep.
So they'll recognize a shop that's maybe 20 minutes away because it's in that area.
That makes sense.
So anyway, I selected Holland, Michigan, which is what you're looking at here. It does come up with 2 technician jobs in Holland, Michigan.
Right.
You can see that they have 811 overall jobs.
Wow. Without
being too negative.
Yeah.
Once you dig into the process, it is not surprising that they have 811 open jobs because there is a lot of friction.
Okay.
So when you just look at this really quickly, no pay information is provided, very vague. This is an HR crafted message. Doesn't look like marketing is really involved in how to sell the job here.
Did you say crafted or crafted?
Crafted.
Oh, okay.
It does look like this is probably a feed that's being pulled straight out of their HR system.
Right.
Again, not bad. It's just this is not a marketing. There's nothing here that says this is why you should come work for us. So
right. So unless you had like an in on the job where maybe someone said, "Hey, I already told you everything. You should go apply here." There's nothing here drawing me. Like I can't see a single thing that says this is why this is good
or different. I mean,
I see overtime.
Yeah.
And then, I just can't imagine anyone. Why do you need, should you have the company description up top? Is that a necessary thing or
No, I don't know legally. I would assume somewhere it needs to have a company description, but I'm not sure that's, well, I know for a fact when we look at our messaging and what converts, it shouldn't be at the top. So once I click the company site, it takes me here to the job itself.
Yep.
And the reason we've moved through some of these steps, even here, if you click a company, apply to the company site,
Yeah.
Indeed makes you do a little bit of a verification before it redirects you. We've just gone ahead and done that, and then it's redirected us.
Indeed be like, fill out your email address, here's your phone number, all that stuff. Yep.
Which I'll highlight maybe at the end, or we can talk another time. But once you do that, now Indeed is going to continue to serve me other jobs.
Right.
Which is another whole issue that we would say, be careful with Indeed, because, and again, I'm not coming down on them. Their job as a company is to make it easy to find a job.
Right.
So from the technician's perspective, Indeed is helpful, and they're going to serve me 20 other jobs that I might be interested in.
Uh-huh. Oh, and we did want to make the point, you're doing all this on a laptop.
Yep. Yeah, we're probably doing our audience a disservice. As we show some of the friction, it's less friction on a laptop than it is a mobile device, and about 80% of this job search happens on a mobile device. So it would be difficult to show all of that.
Yep. 80%.
So when you look at this, it is very, I think it might be identical to what I just saw on Indeed. There's no additional information here. It looks like it's, it's a scrape, or it's pulling straight from this. But if I want to know what the pay is, what the shift is. Okay, so primary first shift, that's there. 40 hours per week plus overtime. Those are good. Should be highlighted more prevalently and at the top and with some specifics. But anyway, then we hit apply, and this is where the pain begins. Ouch. So have I created an account? I can just log back in.
Right.
I as in, typically most of your candidates have not. So I will create an account because I don't have one. And we have already done this, so we're not going to do it now. You can just see here, if someone in IT monitors this, I would assume there's a 99% abandonment rate. It's somewhere 95 to 99%.
That's a good tip, though. I mean, that's something probably people in HR are not looking at. I wonder if they're looking at the abandonment rate of this form here to create an account. That would be a good thing to look at. What's the positive of having the? I've heard this come up a lot of people. You have to create a login to actually apply for jobs. What's the positive of that?
Positive to the company or to the candidate? To
the company.
Well, it's tied to a specific job requisition, and it is now going to be housed in their database. So right here, so I can receive new job posting notifications, hear about more career opportunities. So it is capturing that information in the system so that they can, when something new comes up, they can market to you.
Oh, okay.
So that's the reason for it.
But if it truly has like a 99% abandonment rate, that does not seem worth it. Well, that's a bad trade-off to me.
It depends on the job too. Yeah. So if it's a white collar sales position that's $200,000 a year salary, you probably want to make it difficult and limit
that makes
your
sense.
Applicants.
But if you have 811 job openings, maybe take a look at that.
Yeah. So I guess next step is, which we will talk about after the fact, is, hey, after we did this painful submission with an attached resume, then what happened?
So we did this specific company, Dealer A, and went through all this painful process, actually submitted a real resume with, like you said, taking all the information, aligning it to this specific, putting in real competitors as past work history, aligning the geolocation and all that stuff. And it was, we didn't hear back from them for 20 days. So for this day, we did not hear back for 20 days. And I talked to Flippo about this. He said this, I said, hey, give me some ones that you've done, the undercover candidate for that have been, not the best. And so he gave me a list, and Dealer A, and then we had Dealer A, B, C, D, and E. And it was basically like this one, this particular one, we didn't hear back. So after going through all this, they didn't hear back for 20 days. The other three were basically There were 3 more that were basically, we heard back one time and then never again. And then the last one was, we never heard back.
I have a different one. It was an equipment dealer.
Yep.
And this sounds, our resumes, we try to make it the best of the best.
Right.
We don't want it to be 1 year experience. Yep. So typically when we're building a resume, it's here. I've listed 4 different folks I've worked, for, and I think we always put 3, 4, 5 years at a time. So they're not job hopping.
Yep.
20 plus years of experience. So anyway, it is the best of the best. And one of them that I submitted, I never heard from anyone, but about a week later, I got an email that said, we reviewed your resume and decided you're not a good fit for it. And I'm like, not a good fit? I mean, it was,
I thought there was a technician shortage.
It was unrealistically good resume.
Yeah.
So I actually called the branch because this was a corporate canned email. I called the branch, asked for the service manager. He was super nice, and we talked. And I told him what I was doing.
Yeah.
I said, hey, we are potentially trying to be a partner for you.
Yep.
This is what we did. You just got a couple minutes. Let me get a take from you. And we talked. He had never seen it. And he had said, yeah, I absolutely need a couple people. And I said, this is what we put on there.
Right.
And he's like, something's broken. So, I mean, he never even got it.
Yeah. Yep. And I imagine that's a pretty, I imagine this dealership you're talking about is pretty big, a big company doing a lot of business. It's not like this is a function of smaller people who don't have as much experience. Like this is epidemic within even large companies. It seems like, because the one we're looking at right now is a very big dealership, and the other ones I mentioned, dealer B, C, D, and E, whatever, those were all really big companies. I am surprised to hear like the system is broken that much.
We may have worked ourselves out of a job though, because in the conversation, one of the things we ask is, hey, what have you tried before?
Yeah.
Whether it be an agency or a vendor or what's worked, what hasn't. And in this case, they were unhappy with their results, which, this company, I don't know what all they've done, but 800 open jobs, they potentially are unhappy with their results.
Right.
And we said, well, you never saw the resume I submitted, but I got an auto email saying that I was not a good fit.
Right.
So whoever you're using now or previously used, you may want to go hire them back because I don't think it was their fault.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something's broken.
Only you would say that to a potential client. Well, what else? What other? It feels like that we've done this. I already said it, but we did this with the fleet side. They have their own pitfalls, but is this kind of the common pitfall of the dealer side? Is they still don't kind of understand the balance of power? It's like there's a technician shortage. They don't switch jobs nearly as much as drivers do, and you're still kind of have this hiring process that's like you're trying to hire a C-suite with all this friction of like create a login, send us a full resume, and then judging people by, people who are great at tearing apart engines, judging them by their ability to put together a resume.
Some of it is, the more we get into it, having empathy for the other side. Some of it is just the way their company is set up and that the service managers, branch managers, or, somewhere boots on the ground leadership only has a limited amount of time and they have other roles,
right?
But they are also the ones doing an interview or reviewing resumes.
Right.
And so they're trying not to overwhelm them.
Right.
The problem is you're extremely underwhelming them or, they'll deal with someone who walks in and says, hey, I want an interview. They'll handle those. The digital piece is not working well. They need to not take the power away, because I understand why a service manager at a local shop wants to know who they're hiring.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The problem is they're just not they're not doing a good job of the balance of friction, if that makes sense.
Right, yeah, that makes sense. Well, anything else you add? Because I'm sure based off all this, we're going to have a bunch of questions. I hope the Q&A is rocking. But what else would you add in here?
I would say that most of these ATS systems don't or there's a button or a toggle to you don't have to require the resume, and you may require it in certain markets and not others.
Yeah.
And then the other one would be, I do think there's a lot of options for a short inquiry form. it has some friction, but not what I have on the screen here, not the full username and password. I feel like we've said that a few times, but to show it,
Yeah.
I think is different.
Well, we were trying to get prepped for this episode, and we had to stop, and the crew back here took bathroom breaks, and I was playing Candy Crush, and because you had to sit there and like get all this set up, it took you 10-15 minutes to get all this set up just so we could have the screens pulled up. And then we were like, we don't even have time to go through this whole hiring process, the full app in this 30-minute episode. And it's like, well, if you're talking about someone who's busy working, at a shop 40, 50 hours a week, and they're going to do it on their mobile device, like they're probably not going to want to go through that.
Speaking of that, we should at least say that the majority of the 10, 15, 20 year plus mechanics, technicians, also aren't actively looking. So we didn't even mention that. But if you're going to make it this difficult and they're not even really looking,
good luck. Well, I think that's a great place to end it. I hope you all stick around for the Q&A because it's going to be rocking today. See you next time on Digging Deeper.